The Crypto Street Podcast is hosted by Crypto Dale, Prince, and Killer Whale, who can be found on Twitter at Crypto Dale, at Killer Whale, K1LLERWH4LE, and at 13Prince31. None of this should be construed as investment advice. For information on how to join our private Telegram group, The Pod, please email tcsp@protonmail.com. The Crypto Street Podcasts are officially sponsored by 21 Cryptos, the world's first and only cryptocurrency trading magazine. Visit 21cryptos.com and enjoy 50-plus pages of pro tips and predictions, an analysis of the best 21 coins to invest in for the month, trading lessons and articles from your favorite pros, price action event calendars, entertainment, and lots more. Stay ahead of the game and get your copy today. Visit 21cryptos.com.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to Crypto Street Podcast. My name's Crypto Dale. I'm joined by my two amazing sidekicks, my man in LA with the flowy locks. What's up, Killer?
After a long and arduous journey, we have begun the podcast. How's it going, everybody?
What's up? What's up? Prince?
How's it going, man?
What's Canada up to today?
Oh, just another day in paradise. Less cold today. Snow on the ground still, but it's
seen
cold out.
Polar bears today?
It's cold out today. Probably be cold.
Drinking
out tomorrow.
Cokes?
Yeah, I think we should probably mention how I got called out on YouTube for being incorrect about a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion. Some guy I made a comment. I was like, -30 Celsius. That's not nearly as cold in Fahrenheit. And I guess I was pretty wrong. It's still cold as shit. So some guy on YouTube that goes like, "You're a fucking idiot, dude. It's super cold." I was like, "Oh, okay. Sorry."
Guys, we should put this in our description. We are not fucking rocket scientists.
Nor meteorologists.
Nor meteorologists, nor mathematicians. So
yeah, I'm still surprised people even want to listen to me talk.
They tune in for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not me. I can tell you that. I don't add any value to this show. Our guest today is one of the cutest motherfuckers on crypto Twitter. There's only one person that beats Killer when it comes to the hair category.
God damn
and Luke, my man, that's definitely you. What's up, Luke? Venture coinist Luke Martin, the man, voted #1 Twitter person in crypto space with Crypto Rants poll, the legend himself. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
I don't want to throw you under the bus, Luke, but we've been asked a lot to have you on as a guest. And those people that have asked, we had him on. It was episode 6. And let's just say his recording got lost in email, and it's all my fault.
We'll call it that. Yeah, we'll call it lost in email.
Yeah. So, Luke, let's tell the people, how'd you get into crypto? What was it whenever you decided to get in? What was it that was really intriguing to you?
Yeah, definitely. So I got in just this year. I'm a newcomer to this space. Got in 2017. I had just lost my job. Our office shut down in San Francisco, and I wanted to make some money. And I didn't want to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. That's crazy now because Bitcoin was like 2 or 3K and Ethereum was maybe crossing 100 or 200 bucks. So I got into mining with some friends. And then from that, we started investing in some ICOs. I figured there's a lot more money and kind of dove in. And that's just kind of how I am. If I find something that I'm into, everything lined up, I kind of just dove as deep as we all are now. And then I was going to go to grad school, come out here to California, start week 1 or week 2 of grad school. And the previous month or two, I think I had a couple meetings with guys in the space who were doing really well. Ian Bellina is one that I met and a couple other guys. And it was that week, I was like, the money that I was managing on my own really kind of took off, just for me being a young kid. And I kind of saw the potential in starting a few different businesses that I'm now running. So right then I dropped out of school and now I'm doing this full time. So it aligned with my interest, and it was kind of like the opportunity to just do what I'd always wanted to do. And I didn't have to have a boss anymore.
So let me touch on something. One thing that really kind of chaps my ass is when people say, oh, this person has been in for this long. He's always right over something, someone new. Well, folks, I hate to say it to you, but with people like you, Luke, whose work ethic is, top notch, you can just join something like this and relatively quickly, yeah, you might lack experience in some things, but you can relatively quickly gather or gain the knowledge that is needed to be successful in this space through hard work, trial and error on trades and shit like that. So don't be discouraged by you're new to this space. There's a shit ton of resources out there like this one, like this podcast and whatnot, but you can bust your ass in research and learn a shit ton in a quick time.
Right. And yeah, just to bounce off that, I mean, it's been interesting to me, and there's always going to be guys that kind of hate or are negative, and I mean, whatever, fuck them. It's more just about, just putting in the work, finding along the way, you'll find people that have the same interests, have the same attitude, have the same work ethic as you. And if you put in the time, whether they're old, whether they're new, they'll respect it. So yeah, it's definitely doable even for the new guys.
Yeah, and I would just add to that. I mean, really do the homework too, because people are going to ask, especially people like us, where they know you're in crypto. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And there's really no substitute for actually learning the material yourself. Learning how blockchains work, how the currencies trade, how the markets work, how technical analysis works. It's super important, and you'll have a way better understanding than if somebody's just kind of telling you and you're trying to absorb that. So I just add on to that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's kind of build on that a little more. Luke, you're kind of known for, at least in my eyes, being one of the stronger technical analysis person on crypto Twitter. Let's talk about how you got to that point. Maybe what were some of your methods, and if you read books, studied charts, read former traders, just kind of go through the methods that you used to get to where you are.
Yeah, certainly. So my answer is going to be a little bit maybe off. I guess books aren't a bad thing. I never want to say books are bad. But my experience or the way that I learned technical analysis was maybe a little bit unorthodox. The previous job and what I was doing in San Francisco, I was working with FX and derivative traders. So I had, a number of, a couple hundred clients that I worked with. Literally every single question that you can get asked in crypto, I got asked that plus more in FX and derivatives. So really quick, I was kind of thrown into that role, and I loved it. I've been into trading, portfolio strategy. If you follow me, you kind of understand that. So much so, really quick, it was me and the guys I'm sitting at a desk with. It was like, who's going to do better here? The person who understands what they're talking about when you call in, have a question, or the guy who just, shows up and comes to work. So for 8 hours that I was there, you were talking to people about price movements, about every single indicator, about anything. So I was like, I might as well, really, really hit it hard to study this and learn it. And then I also had the opportunity to work with, a couple of the top currency strategists in the world and listen to their views and all that. So I would honestly, I guess I was forced to kind of look at a chart for at least 8 to 10 hours a day. And then also in my free time too. I mean, I was in San Francisco, I was making pretty weak money, or maybe I just had too nice of an apartment. But I'd write some articles when I got off for Seeking Alpha, throw an article out there, I'd maybe make 20 or 30 bucks, but it made me kind of test my ideas, put a chart up, get criticism, get all that. So, I guess a little bit it was forced, but it just previous experience, just doing it.
Yeah, it goes back to the same thing where you got to learn it yourself. There's no substitute for that. And it's super complicated, and people, I think they're daunted. It's a really daunting thing when they first get involved in crypto, trying to look at it, or they don't even really know where to start, because there's so many different aspects of it, from programming to investing to, fundamental analysis, that kind of stuff. But you really just got to kind of just start reading anything, and eventually when you first start out, a lot of it's not going to make any sense. You're going to be reading things. It's not really going to be sinking in, but with enough time, the jargon will sink in. All of that stuff will become apparent, and then your reading will become more effective too. So keep reading, because you'll understand.
And just build off that. To build off that, if I can, and I think what scares a lot of people away, or kind of what keeps a lot of people from learning more TA or kind of growing with it, is a lot of people make it really complex. And you'll notice with my charts, I mean, everyone has a different style, and I don't want to knock anyone's style, but what I found for me is just the simplest thing. So it's just very simple trend lines, identifying support and resistance zones. I really only have 2 tools that I use. I use fibs and I use the RSI, but I wouldn't try to learn everything. That's kind of where I think books get some people into trouble. maybe like literally just focus on identifying what's a support, what's a resistance, what is a trend, how to identify what trend we're in. And from there, that puts you at such an advantage to someone who just looks and doesn't understand what they're looking at.
Yeah, Prince, I think that's something you talked about is just simple, charts.
Well, that's all it really needs to be, right? Like at the end of the day, we're just watching price action. It's all about just volume coming in, right? And where's that price moving? And that's all these indicators do. They're just simplifying that really, into a condensed form that makes it easier for people to look at. So yeah, I used to be pretty guilty for that, where I would load up the indicators, and it was like, then I kind of got a little more experience, and it was like, yeah, these 3 different indicators all do the same thing pretty much. This just looks pretty.
I think early on you are not confident in your skills, so you use as many indicators as you can to build that up. Because I did the same thing. I think I threw on MACD, fucking RSI, the Ichi Cloud.
You don't even know what they mean. You're just throwing letters at the screen. You're like, the more little acronyms, the better. It's like,
yeah, you're just looking. You're like, okay, that trend looks like it's reversing. This says that also. This says that also. And then you go. And then the more confident you get in your skills, you're like, well, this is a waste of fucking time. So is this. So is this.
Yeah, they can all help. It's just right. Yeah, a lot of them are going to show the same thing. I like to find, if a few of them agree, and a lot of the traders you'll see, everyone kind of sticks with the 1 or 2 they're comfortable with. If someone has 5 or 10 on there, it's hard to even see. So
it almost gives you a damn seizure when someone posts that on Twitter, and you're like, whoa, what the hell is this?
Man, you could go back through some of my like earlier posts when I was first getting on Twitter, I'm sure, a couple years back. And you would see some pretty ridiculous charts.
A lot of them, it's like trying to decipher hieroglyphics. You take a look at the chart, you don't even know what the volume is. Yeah. Like, if it's like the y-axis is the x-axis. It's just absurd sometimes.
Honestly, once I figured out I could customize the colors, I just went wild. So.
It's the little things in life.
Yeah.
You gotta have stuff to do.
Luke, when you pull up a chart, say you get a hot tip on something, or you're finding something that you like, go through your process of evaluating a new coin or something you're looking at, maybe throwing some money at.
Yeah. Alts and Bitcoin are going to be different, right? Because Bitcoin is really always up on my screen. So that opportunity kind of presents itself for some alts. First of all, I want to think about, even before you get to charting, and not to divert too much, but I always get this question of, if you can only use one, would you use fundamental or technical? Or if this, do you combine them? And that's just like kind of a crazy idea that you'd only use one. So even before I look at a chart, you're always keeping in mind, what's going on fundamentally, what is Bitcoin doing, what's happening with alts, are they trending up or down? And then from there, I'm going to look at, whatever time frame you're looking at. Consider, is this a trade for a few days? Is this a trade for a week? Or is this a position I want to really build into for 6 months? You look at whatever time frame that is. Kind of, I think of everything in ranges. So what's the all-time high for that range? What's the all-time low? And then just really picking supports, and it's all going to be risk reward. So the lower the support, probably the less chance you get filled, but it's the least risk. And always having a target or a plan when I go into it. So if I do determine those zones, if I do determine the entries, the exits based off everything I use, just fibs and really basic lines, putting that on the chart, marking it for myself, and also setting some alerts. And then that's it. I make the decision based off that.
I think that's really important too, is touch on how important it is to have a plan when you are entering something. Because I know there's been a couple times in my trading career where I've said I was going to exit if hits this, then I end up not exiting and don't make as much profit as I could.
Yeah. Well, so having a plan in so many ways, and you can take this, a million different ways. You can break it down micro or think, bigger picture. But having a plan just with every position, even before entries and exits. Is this a position that you're actually investing in? Is that the goal with this? Are you trying to grow it out over the next year? Is it a project that you want to trade in and trade out of over the next week? So that's originally you have to go into it with that mindset. And then from there, I'm a big believer in kind of a rules-based system. So as I enter, I would never enter if I didn't already have a target and an exit picked out. And it's kind of a feedback loop. Because if you enter a trade, suppose you didn't think about the first question I suggested. You enter a trade, you don't have your exits picked out. And it's just like you said, it starts to go down. And then you say, should I build into this? Should I sell and buy back lower? You can really, the human mind you can convince yourself of things really easily. And biases and emotions will take over, and you'll probably make bad decisions. That's just what we have a tendency to do when there's money on the line. So I try to eliminate myself from those decisions as much as possible and just follow the system. If it hits the target, I'm out. If it goes below that level, I'm out. And really remove myself.
And that's really hard to do, because as your trade starts progressing and as it starts going a certain direction, either you get super confident and excited, or, the fear takes over and you start panicking. So it's really hard to really take yourself out of the equation and just look at it like as price levels. And that's all it means. But you really have to fight a lot of emotions. And I guess that's one of the primary things that makes trading hard, or maybe the absolute primary thing, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a fight against yourself, right? You want to do so many things, natural tendencies, but in trading, you got to go against that. And it makes it so tough, which is, I think, what I enjoy the most about it, because it's a test against yourself.
I was just going to say, field kind of does come into play a little bit, though. I think especially when things are kind of going parabolic, like sometimes you can just kind of sense like the momentum fizzling a little bit. And that might be the first sign that it's the top, So if you're trading something like a big run up, I found that to kind of be the case in my experience. And it's kind of like, as soon as you think maybe you're getting that gut feeling, that's it. That's when you have to act. Because if you think about it for longer and if you wait for like some kind of confirmation of that, then it's too late, because your gut feeling was like the correct thing. We talked to Messiah about how gut feelings are sort of the manifestation of everything you've learned in technical analysis, fundamental, everything you've read the news, everything you've experienced reading charts. And it's really true in my opinion. So trust your gut to an extent, but sort of try to take yourself out of the equation too. So it's kind of a balance of both.
Yeah.
Luke, you started out as venture coinist, and then you doxed yourself. Maybe go through the process, why you decided to do that. Don't go in details of what you did, so to say, but maybe if someone's thinking of doxing themselves, give a very high level of maybe some additional things they need to think of, and maybe some things you experience that you might do differently.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a question I got actually from one of the guys in the pod and another guy who I think is going to dox himself in the near future. So we'll see how that goes.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. But anyways, the decision, it was kind of a tough one for me, and I didn't really want to do it. I mentioned that meeting I had with Ian Bellina, which was pretty pivotal in my path this year. And I was asking him, he was working on this ICO research, and he was kind of managing his own book and doing really well. And he was one of the only faces in the community that had his face, he had his name, he had all his info out there. And, I met him a couple times, and we're meeting up for another thing and somewhere in San Francisco. And I asked him, I was like, hey, Ian, what do you think? How has that been for you? Do you think I should dox myself? And my concerns were people are going to think I'm too young. Obviously you have the security concerns, just a whole lot of things. But in the end, I think it's been really positive. I find myself, I don't really get caught up in too many little Twitter beefs anymore, because it's my real face and my real name, and you realize how dumb some of this stuff is. But security too, it's huge. So that's a consideration that you need to take very, very seriously. It's something that I've had to meet with, someone I actually contracted to help me with, both in terms of InfoSec and OPSEC. And I've reached out to one guy you actually had on here, Not So Fast, I've kind of reached out to him for some advice. And then, like I said, I contracted someone, but you have to be, it's not something that you kind of just do and then figure out later. I thought about that. And once I knew I was going to do it, it's something that you want to prepare for the worst, and you have to be really paranoid. But it's opened up a few doors that I probably wouldn't have, a couple opportunities that I probably wouldn't have if I was still Warren Buffett drinking a Coke.
Yeah, so. And like people coming into the space, they think this is kind of like a paranoid thing, that people should be concerned about their real identities being out there, but you really do kind of have to. I just saw today some exchange operator, I think in the Ukraine, got taken hostage or he got kidnapped, and there was like $1 million Bitcoin ransom that they demanded from the guy before letting him go or letting him free or whatever. And this stuff happens. And you mentioned Ian Bellina. He really takes it to like a really far degree on Twitter, I've noticed too, posting his balances, his blockfolio balances, profits and stuff. And it kind of like freaks me out a little bit. More power to him if he feels comfortable doing that.
Yeah, that's scary.
I get like
a little bit, but for him, it's a little bit different, right? Because his whole brand, his whole thing, Diary of a Made Man, it was, I'm going to be transparent through this whole thing. And you wouldn't have said this, 8 months ago. I followed him the whole way. I was talking to him back then when I watched his account balance go from 50K to now, what is it, 2 or 3 million. So, I mean, yeah, it is kind of pushing the line now that, you know, traveling the world and showing that's your balance. It's definitely something that I consider. I'm going on a couple of trips here in a week and be in a few different countries. So it's definitely something you have to think about. I'm never going to share my balance because, you know, I only trade demo accounts anyways, but
that's right.
Yeah, security is massive. I mean, even not for someone like, even for the smallest accounts, because really quickly, guys, this money, it can turn into something that's a lot bigger. Even if you start with your account with, I don't know, say $1,000 or one Bitcoin, you know, it's not something. Your security has to scale with your account size. Not, you know, you can't let it lag behind.
And like we use $1,000 as an example, and I mean it's absolutely true. We've had so many people on here who say, you know, I was down to my last $600 or $700, or I had $400, and these are considered OGs, quote unquote, at this point in time. People who don't have to work again, who aren't worried about having any kind of real job ever again. And so you really don't need that much to start. You can do pretty damn well. The returns, they seem like absolutely insane, and they are. But it's possible, you know, just get involved, do your research, and it's not out of reach.
I think one common thing that every guest has said too is the security is, you know, I got asked the other day, someone just bought some Ethereum, half of Ethereum on Coinbase, and was like, you know, I don't need the 2FA or whatever. I'm just a small time buyer. And it's like, no, dude, you do need you need to treat it as if it is $4 million because shit, you never know what it could be. And it's the easy ones like that. The targets, I think, that stick out the most are the people that just have small balances that could easily be suspect to a hack, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the one thing I want to add to that, I mean, it's the whole thing that I even can, you know, when I'm thinking and evaluating myself and kind of even trying to describe what I do, I'm a lot more managing risk than I am managing coins or anything. So that's one of the easiest risks. I mean, it's definitely still a risk, but that's one of the easiest risks you can manage. You know, I can't manage right now whether or not Bitcoin, you know, goes up $10,000 because someone tweets it or some random coin goes up. You know, I can't manage some of those risks. I can try based on exposure and all that, but you know, securities are definitely things you can just put the time in. You don't have to hire someone like I did, but reach out to people. I don't know. There's so many guides on Reddit or the internet. It's something that's just a risk you can manage, and that means lower risk, and you can still be getting those rewards.
Luke, moving in, we just, you know, closed the 2017 year. What do you see that's going to be different in 18 versus 17? You know, maybe what are some sectors? There's not really sectors, so to say, in crypto, but what are some things you're watching? And maybe just elaborate a little bit on what your big picture is for 18.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know, one of your recent guests was saying this. I think maybe everyone said this. I think it's really going to shock some people how this goes, whether... I mean, both in terms of money, but also in terms of the industries that are going to get impacted and the companies that are going to start adopting it. I think it's going to happen a lot quicker than people realize. Even if it takes a long time, you're just slowly going to see it creep in. I mean, I'm new, like I said, but just in the last month or two, the amount of people, my friends, my family, like even older people that are reaching out to me now that are interested in this, you know, it's growing exponentially. And when I go home, you know, to a different part of the country that's maybe a little bit less tech savvy, you know, I'm reminded that we're still early, but they have at least heard of it. So I think it's going to surprise a lot of people coming in. In terms of sectors, I'm really bullish. Privacy coins. I also think decentralized exchanges are going to be big. It's going to take time. Liquidity is king. So I'm not sure how long that takes for them to actually steal some of the volume. But I want to be positioned there as well. And then another theme that I've kind of been watching grow, and maybe it's just a hype thing, I'm not sure yet, is the interoperability. So that's projects like OneChain or any technology really that's going to bring, you know, allow these different blockchains to interact and atomic swaps and just all those things. I think that's going to be massive.
Can you expand on those at all? I'm not too familiar with like any of those projects, interoperability ones. Excuse me. So are there any ones that you particularly like in that space that are, you know, appealing to you?
Not as, I mean, I only know OneChain because I participated in the ICO. I believe Icon also has a little bit of that. You know, I saw someone tweet it and kind of put it in that category. I don't know enough about Icon other than, you know, it made people a lot of money on the ICO. But just thinking, you know, conceptually, that these blockchains kind of can't interact yet without some sort of exchange. You know, I just feel like that's massive already. Just looking at network congestions and all these things, they're going to need to interact with each other.
I remember listening to an interview with Ari Paul too. It was probably like a month or two before he was on our show, and he was talking about if that happens, where atomic swaps take over, and interoperability and all that sort of thing. Where chains are not as distinct necessarily as they are now, or you don't necessarily have to use one or the other one, and how important brand will be if that becomes the case, and just marketability in terms of network effects. Recognizability, and in terms of looking at coins that will do well in that sort of environment where there's less distinction between blockchains. And that's really, I think, a very forward way of thinking about it, because that's something that's probably a year, 2 years in the future, but it's something you have to account for before it's looking, it's passed you by and you're looking in the rearview mirror. So the industry is changing super quickly, especially crypto. I mean, it's crazy. We'll release an episode like 3 days after it happens, and somebody's like, oh, like everything's you listen to. And it's like, I actually listened to one we released a couple days ago about XRP being over or under $2.50 by the end of 2018. And it's like, I think it went over 250 like by the end of 17 even. So it's insane if you don't keep up.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do a little segment so the viewers, listeners can get to know you, Luke. It's going to just called favorites. Okay.
All right.
Favorite beer?
I'm gonna go Heineken.
Heineken. Interesting.
It's available all over the world. Wherever I stop,
That's a very good point.
I can always get a Heineken. Yeah.
Bully would be pissed you didn't say Bud Light. Just gonna say that for the record.
Dilly, Billy.
I'd say Kokanee, but I don't know. I guess that's a Canadian thing.
What did you say, Prin?
Kokanee. You never had Kokanee?
What the fuck is that?
Coke.
You've never had a Coke?
Sounds like Cuckany.
Fucking Glacier beer.
Kokanee?
Yeah,
Kokanee. Get some on the bowl.
It's good. Wait, is that like a cheap beer, or is that like a?
You guys? Oh no!
It's a high quality beer.
You got to come up north.
Kokanee.
Man, I'm banned from Canada, so that'll never happen.
It's true.
I'll send you a case.
What's your favorite sport, Luke?
Hockey. I play hockey.
Luke, have you seen?
Oh wait, we had that conversation.
Have you seen Ice Guardians on Netflix?
Never seen Ice Guardian. I haven't dove that deep into Netflix yet.
I actually got recommended it by Prince and Larry in the pod. Ice Guardians. It's about enforcers in hockey. Super interesting.
Is this a recent one?
It's pretty.
Oh, documentary stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I think it came out in like the past couple of years.
Where they got like McGrattan and all those guys they interview.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check it.
Paros.
Interesting. Favorite drink?
I guess if it's not a Heineken, I'd probably get a gin and tonic.
Ooh, dirty. Favorite exchange?
Favorite exchange? I mean, I still use Bittrex, but it is just terrible. I mean, even right before this, I logged in and I've cleared all my cache and I can't even get the thing to load. It doesn't even load, so I have to use Internet Explorer. I don't know. I don't really like Binance either. I don't even have, I guess, Bitmix. I'll give it to Bitmix. They just They never break down.
Bitmix has the best user experience by far. When you first log in, it's confusing as shit. There's just like decimals and digits everywhere, but it's amazing. The liquidity is great. The charts are great. The system is good. I was actually just starting to come around on Poloniex after swearing it off forever. I hadn't used Poloniex for probably like 6 months. And then I finally started to come around to it, trading XLM Stellar here. And I'm trying to close the position today, and it's just failing. I'm hitting close, and it's going like, operation failed, try again. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this thing's plummeting, and I can't close it? Operation failed? So, fuck Poloniex again.
If you're listening and want to sign up for Bitmix, just send CryptoDale a message, and I'll get you a good ref link so you can get 10% off. Capiche? Okay. Luke, be real with me. Your favorite Twitter account. You don't have to say me. Who is it?
Man.
Here, we can break it down in 2 categories. Shit posting
I was gonna say.
and actual Twitter.
So shit posting, I'm probably gonna go with, well, I guess they're both tied. I like either Startail or Crypto Bully. Startail might be mad that I categorize him in shit posting because he also has some good stuff too.
He does.
And then the other one for information, it's a guess you guys had, is Ari Paul. I mean, he has so much insight and so much stuff that he's willing to share in there and break it down and explain. It helps me.
Yeah, shout out to Bully and Ari Paul.
GOAT.
Those guys are great.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to move on to Bullish Bearish. This is where we haven't done the segment in a long time, guys. Are you excited?
I am. Got goosebumps.
I figured you'd. I could tell through watching you.
Yeah. Just giddy.
So, Luke, this is where we say a coin. You just say bullish, bearish, a little bit reasoning behind why you are, okay? You can go last because I forgot to send these to you.
It's all good. It's all good.
Get your chart pulled up. We're going to start with the father of all fucking coins, Mother Bitcoin. Even though I just said father, we're calling it Mother.
Bitcoin.
Big Daddy Bitcoin.
What do you think, Prince?
Oh, what are we going for price?
No,
bullish bearish. Oh, we're not doing over
dork.
under. Okay, I'm going bullish. Obviously, fuck. I need to be bullish, otherwise my portfolio goes to shit. So,
Prince is like, what kind of question is that?
Like,
Bullish.
come on, I'm not here to be bearish. Fuck.
I'm going under.
I think Bitcoin's had a pretty meaningful correction, so I feel good about it now.
Luke?
All right, I'm going to come. Just like I started the show, so I like to think of things in terms of time frames, medium to long term. I think we're all bullish. I think everyone that's going to listen to this show or is on Twitter is probably bullish. Short term, even though I would even call this bullish. We just crossed above 14.4 to 14.7. That was kind of the key resistance range that I wanted to see broken. I'm looking at my screen; it's above it right now. I would like to see a daily close above it or a retest or something. So I'm kind of still watching, but I'm bullish short term as well.
Okay, next one is Bitcoin. Or Jesus, we just did that. Neo.
I don't even know anything about Neo, but I'm gonna be bullish because it's got a good hype train. The community is pretty strong behind it. And what do they like to say? It's China's Ethereum. So
yeah.
There we go.
That's right, buddy.
All right. I know nothing about Neo. With that in mind, I'm bearish because I don't like it. I missed out on the first pump. I'm still extremely salty. Bearish as shit.
Wait. You didn't see the other day when I think it was Bully said in the pod, he's like, guys, I'm buying Neo. Everyone should get in. And there was probably like 10 or 15 of us that just dove right in when I think it was right around $60.
Why did you guys tell me? I missed this and you
I'm
don't let
pretty
me.
sure
I
I
didn't
told
see
you.
it either.
You just you rush in like vultures.
They're the ones who pump
You
the
don't let your
price.
friend
See,
know?
what's it at? It's at $88 today,
Guys.
USD.
These guys who push the price.
Couldn't
up.
enter their
Sorry,
passwords
guys,
quick enough. Meanwhile, I'm missing out on the second Neo pump.
Fucking bullies moving markets again.
Unbelievable.
Fucking Bully. Luke, what do you got?
I'm bullish Neo. I think they have a whole lineup of ICOs that are going to come out. I think they're going to keep taking market share from Ethereum. I wish people didn't chill it so much, but I'm still bullish Neo regardless of the shills.
Yeah, 27 ICOs this next month.
Yeah.
Killers, baby. Monero.
Bullish.
We're not even going to ask you, Killer. We fucking know you're bullish.
I'm bullish too. Fuck, I love privacy coins right now.
Prince is a convert.
Yeah, I've been getting in. My heavy position of Zcoin is now turning into another position of Monero as well. So I'm expanding my privacy coins.
Luke?
Yeah, I'm bullish Monero. I'm bullish. I really haven't found a privacy coin I don't like. Maybe Zcash I kind of got out of a while ago, but
Wait.
I like Monero.
So you like Lux?
Go
on. Don't answer.
I mean,
Do not
I don't
answer. Yeah,
I've heard it's a privacy coin. I need to check it out. Anyways, I like Monero a lot. I think privacy, that whole sector, I've been saying it for a few months. I really like privacy coins. So the biggest of all, I like.
Finally, we got the shitcoin of all shitcoins. Ripple.
Wait, hold on. You know what, Dale? I need to tell a story about Stellar, okay? Just because it's close enough to
have
Ripple.
Have at her, buddy.
All right. So Stellar had been very, very good to me earlier this weekend. I've been doing a phenomenal job trading it, making money hand over fist, loving life, feeling like a king. I stopped trading it probably sometime around last night. We're recording this on Tuesday, so Monday night. I stopped trading it. I must have closed out a position. I don't go on Poloniex all day today, Tuesday. I log in today after I get home, looking to see what's up, and I see that I have a margin position open, and it's down a whole Bitcoin. And so I look and I go, Stellar short?
What?
Like, what? How the fuck did that happen? And so I had a sell on Stellar for my long position, like a stop or something that I like forgot about, which then opened as a short, I think.
No.
And then I was down gigantic on this
Yeah.
short.
Oh my
And
God.
so remember to cancel your
I've done the
margin
same. I've done the same thing. Yeah, I've done the exact same thing with
Fuck.
Bitcoin on Bitmix before. It's. I've actually had it work out the other way too, though. So I think that the two trades offset. But
This
yeah,
is
it's
brutal.
Fuck, man. I really feel for
I was
you.
like
right now.
unknowingly shorting it for like a whole day.
Jesus. You should have emailed their
Nightmare.
support and tell them your account got hacked. You didn't place that trade.
Email Loomdart.
Wait.
I actually
Email
did that
him
once.
before
I,
this
like,
episode is released.
I had like a shitty trade.
Email Loomdart.
Yeah, I was convinced it was like a Poloniex fuck up, so I emailed their support, and they were like, "Well, actually, if you read our terms, this is how it works." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sorry, my bad."
Wow.
Just tell him. Do the pod line and tell him to get fucked.
Yeah, just go. You know what? I'll take my business elsewhere to Bitrex. Just threaten to leave,
You'll learn them real good doing
like
that.
your cable company. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Ripple, Prince.
Oh yeah.
What you got, boy?
Oh, fuck. I don't like Ripple. I don't even want to comment if I'm bullish or bearish because it's gone up so much. If I say I'm still bullish, I kind of sound like an asshole, but at the same time, it's crypto. So it could just keep going up for all I know. But am I buying it? Hell no. So there's that.
Come on, man. Bullish on Ripple.
I'm only not buying it because I told Ledger back after the shitty conference they have. Shout out Ledger Status. I told him I would never buy this fucking thing ever again. And so he set a reminder in his calendar for March of 2018. Check Dale's wallet, Ripple wallet address to see if he's ever bought it. So I will never buy this thing, even if it drops to a penny. And the damn Ripple CEO calls me and says, Dale, we got this going on. I guarantee it goes to
Well,
$50.
if that happens, let me know.
You're gonna regret this so much.
Let
Dale.
me know if that happens. I'll take the trade
The
for
salt
you.
is
If
gonna
that
be so
happens,
real.
I'm gonna. If that happens, Prince, I'll just send you money and
It's
you
funny.
just buy it for me.
Oh my god. Should be already.
Luke, what do you think?
I'm bearish Ripple. I think the only time I've ever touched it was before that Swell conference, and I think I squeaked out a 5% and got out alive. But I don't like Ripple. I don't know. It's sitting right up at resistance for me. It just kind of broke through a support. We'll see. It's still hanging up in that range. You know, crazier things have happened. It could keep pumping another 10x. But I'm out of Ripple.
It was
I'm
truly
bearish.
remarkable how terrible that conference was after how much hype it got too. The Bernanke shill and everything. I was like, oh my god, they got a former Fed chair shill in this shit. It's going to the moon. Nope.
Fucking pisses me off. Man.
Nightmare. Disastrous conference. They couldn't even pump it.
So Luke, show us your group. People listening. What do you got?
My group?
Yeah, if you want.
I'm going to take the Elon Musk approach. I'm kind of anti-advertising my group. One, because I'm just kind of growing too fast, and two, because ever since I started it, almost every single person's just kind of stayed in. The one thing that I want to touch on, I think, I don't want to get into a whole group debate or anything like that, but there's going to be bad actors. There's going to be some shady stuff going on in any industry. I think any industry that's attracting this much money, there's going to be probably it happening more so. But just kind of the way that I started, I was probably things that I'm kind of proud of. I was probably one of the first guys to start a free group and put this much time into actually helping people. Once that got to such a number, and I think it's like 5,000 or 6,000 now, maybe 8,000. Once that got to a certain number, I kind of couldn't handle questions and really work with people one-on-one. So I started a smaller group for that reason. And I actually haven't tweeted about it. I don't think since the day I opened it before November, because I don't want to. There's too many people hitting me up, and I'd prefer to work with a really limited kind of a small number of people. And everyone's enjoying it. Everyone's had some good success. Everyone's learning. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to go no shill here.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You get the Dale stamp of approval, my man. You guys got anything else you want to add tonight? Chapping your tails?
I'll just say that the Twitter follower pump is definitely real. I think it was Bitcoin Dad who was talking about how before last alt season, he got a ton of Twitter followers, like right in the weeks before the alts really took off. And I for sure noticed that. Luke, I know you've definitely noticed that, probably more than all of us combined. follower pump has been amazing.
I think this last month is when it got really ridiculous. So that's kind of another reason I don't want to shill anything. I don't even really like shilling like my Twitter or post. I mean, I still like posting obviously, but it's like it's gotten to a new level. I think this month I took on 40,000 more followers, and they're coming in at a faster rate. I think it's something like 2,000 or 3,000 each day, even if I only post like 3 tweets. So I think that's just a testament to how much money's coming in. I know it probably makes some older guys mad or so. I don't know, but. Who knows? They're all real people. You can audit it. They're all real people, and they're looking to buy coins. So I think it's bullish. It's a good thing.
And the Messiah said today in the pod that Twitter audit's fucking fraud. Anyways, he said he had bought followers for someone and then audited them, and it said that all the followers he bought for them were real.
You guys, Crypto Yoda hit 100,000 followers today.
That's nuts.
I can confirm that Twitter audit is fake. I bought Rick a ton of followers, pretty much all of his followers, and Twitter audit still says he looks pretty legit. So
he's gonna be so pissed that you said that.
There's a couple of things. There's a couple of things that I think people kind of to get away from the joke, but on kind of a serious note, there's a couple of things that if you're listening, if you're new to this, if you want to kind of see past that and check for yourself, look at the engagement on people's posts. There's definitely ways to rack up, and I'm seeing this as more new people come into this space and kind of have this mindset of let me start a signal group or something like that. You see people who they can do a Bitcoin or two giveaway that gives them 5, 10, 20,000 followers. They're not putting out any good thing. Try to judge someone by how much of an understanding they have in terms of free content. Make sure they're legit, because there's definitely artificial ways to inflate your followers doing these Bitcoin giveaways or doing whatever. So just the only thing I want to throw out there.
Follow Crypto Dale. Free Bitcoin shit. Just kidding. Don't follow me. Well, Luke, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join with us. It's been great talking with you. You're one of my favorites, nicest guy. I've asked you, bounce a couple questions off you a time or two, and you're always willing to. The thing I like about it is you just don't give the answer. You kind of allude to maybe help me finding the answer myself. So I applaud you for that.
Yeah, man. It's thanks for having me on, guys. You guys, so many people, so many of your guests that you've had on have helped me along the way too. So it's a lot of fun, and I have it's a nice stress reliever to be in the pod with you guys and kind of take a less serious approach at something. So thanks for having me on.
Thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Tip your waitress. Take care. We'll talk soon.